Alrighty then, should be good to go, should be live on Facebook. What is going on, everyone? Hope you are doing well. Hope everything is great for you. Hope you've had an awesome week. A special schedule for the Get More Clients show. I noticed just now that the C on the culture is a little off, so I'm going to fix it so that all these video clips don't look terrible. Now we're good. Now it's good. Who's ever editing this, clean that up so it doesn't look like we started it. Anyways, if you're watching us live in the group, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. Thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it. This is the Get More Clients show. If you have not watched it yet, we do it live here on the group. You might notice that the camera quality is not so great. That's totally fine. The quality is actually going to be in 1080 when we drop it on YouTube, and then drop the clips as well on our Facebook and our LinkedIn and our Instagrams and everywhere across the planet that you can find us. You can find us there. If you are watching live, we don't interact live, but you can like or love this post and drop any comments when you find something that's valuable for you. And we'll start the show here in 3, 2, 1. Hey there, Alex Linsky here for the Get More Clients show, number 7. Incredible, Brian. We're already moving up the ladder here. 7's the special number in my heart, so I'm very excited for this episode. What we're going to do in this episode is talk about how to position yourself as an expert in your niche so you stand out from everyone else. Everyone's always worried about market saturation, so we're going to help you stand out from the crowd and show why you're the best of the best in what you do. Why is this so important? Of course, it's absolutely critical knowing that if you're going to go to a pizza restaurant to buy a $10 pie and you're looking at their comments and reviews online, I promise people that are going to spend $15,000 to $10,000 working with you are going to be looking you up online and seeing your website and your testimonials and your proof and all the good stuff about you, and we're going to help you come up as an expert, positioned as someone who's a no-brainer to work with. The easiest thing you got to do is just write a book. That's it. That's the whole show. Thanks for coming. I'm kidding, obviously. That is not what you have to do to be able to be expert positioned, although it is valuable. And we'll talk about it. Brian's going to kick this off with 2 foundational things that we're going to need to be able to position yourself as an expert. Brian, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. And it's funny, it sort of feels, or this is what it must feel like being an editor or a writer for a TV show where you get to write the good jokes and then someone else just says them. Because Alex just stole the joke. Okay, yes. That's okay. Well, not only before we dive into all this good stuff in today's episode, is it special because it's episode number 7, your favorite number and the favorite number in this community. Also a special week for you as well, and kind of why maybe energy might be a little low today. So I'm just going to kick it over to you. You have some exciting news I think that everyone watching the show should hear.
Yes, sir. So I am officially a daddy. It's very exciting. It's very interesting how you go from 1 minute to being not a parent to the next minute you have a baby boy in your hands and you're like, what do I do now? Many of you
I'm really
that
grateful that Alex and Kira adopted me, and I am the new member of the family.
That's what happened. Yeah, Brian is now my son, which would be even funnier if we were in person so you could see how much taller he is than I am. He was just making fun of me for having small hands with my mini Pepsi that I have right here. As we go into this, though, basically my wife and I welcomed our beautiful baby boy into the world here on February 9th. We're so excited about it. It's been something that I wanted to have for a long time. Eternally grateful for it. For many of you watching this, you know how important this obviously was for me as a human being, and one of my biggest goals as a person was to be able to have a child with my beautiful wife. I've known Shira since high school. I met her in 2006. We were dating since really 2008. We got married in 2015, and now here we are, 2021, and we have our first child. It's pretty incredible. In retrospect, the last 12 months have been insane. I lived through open heart surgery. We lived through a pandemic. We had a 130-person live event, and now we have a little baby boy, and it's really exciting. And I thought the most interesting way to start off this show, while it's not exactly related to positioning, it's about how you utilize that positioning, would be talking about how I'm going to become more productive with a baby. And I think that seems counterintuitive because it absolutely is. So here's the first thing. 1, I'm speaking this into existence so I can become more productive with the baby. Other than that, if not, I'm going to be collapsed amongst myself of all the responsibilities I now have, like doing diapers or cleaning the house, which usually was Shira's thing. Not that I was wearing diapers. That sounded weird, but you got the idea. So basically, here's how I think I'm going to become more productive. Now that I have a child to take care of, I need to be even more cognizant of how I spend my time. I think a lot of people with kids already respect this and understand it, but many more listening, either live or on replay, will resonate with the idea that they're kind of just willy-nilly with their time. They're just kind of doing things for the sake of doing things. Even if they have a calendar, they're not usually following it. Even if they have productivity tools, they're not necessarily utilizing it. It's just kind of like a feel-good style of fulfillment for productivity, but not actually executing it. And I think I fall into that line. I think because a lot of you that know us know my wife is such a productivity master. We call her the queen of productivity and organization, that I kind of just fall on her skills to allow me to be productive. But the reality is, I miss, I'm late to meetings. I miss certain deadlines. Like just like any other human being, I'm pretty good, but I certainly can get a lot better. And I think now with me being on someone else's timeline, a little baby boy who can't speak up for himself, we have to, take care of him and feed him and bathe him and all this stuff. And it's a two-person job. Can't just be Shira, although, maybe, I don't know, hopefully not. It has to be a two-person job. I have to be able to kind of pick up the slack. Technically, also, we work in Slack. You see what I did there? Okay, so I have to pick up the slack in my personal and professional life to be more cognizant of how we spend our time. And I think it's really valuable for our listeners because I think a lot of people that listen to this work from home and they're entrepreneurs and your kind of like personal life and business life get intersected. It's like a similar objection in sales where it's like, how can I pay you $2,500? That's my mortgage. It's like, why are we talking about your personal life and your business life? But they're so intertwined when you're an entrepreneur. So now that we have a baby, I have to become more productive, more cognizant of how I use my time, more specific in utilizing my calendar, more careful about who I say yes to jump on one-on-one calls with, more careful of how I spend my time specifically on certain tasks in the business versus on the business. Now's the time to really get her done, as people would say, in working as the CEO, not just only working in the business. Even though we teach it a lot, it's really easy to get stuck in these bad patterns, just like anyone else out there. It's really easy to say, a lot easier to do, but I think I'll become more productive, Brian, now that I have a kid. I guess we'll see how that goes. We'll circle back to this in like 3 episodes and be like, I'm dying! I don't know what to do. We'll see. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, Alex will be sleeping on future episodes, and it's just going to be me for the next couple of months.
Who knows? I might fall asleep on this episode.
Yeah, seriously. So I think it's a good theme, though. Working smart, not hard. And I think a lot of times, especially with how people position themselves and the content they feel like they need to produce, they're working really hard, not smart. So I think that's an excellent lead in. And again, congratulations. I've been well informed in the loop with the whole baby process, but super exciting to be able to share with the world. And hopefully here in a few days, we'll know his actual name because it's a little bit of a tradition. So we're keeping that, or you are, not me, keeping that under wraps. And I'm very excited for that as well. So without further ado, let's get into some of the things you probably want to hear about today. Whether or not you like babies or not, totally fine, not here to judge. But I want to talk about 2 foundational pieces before we really get into, and I'm going to tease right now, what we're going to talk about in the episode to get you excited. So there's really 4 big elements or themes, topics, strategies, whatever you want to call them for today's episode. The first one is going to be actually developing a profile funnel. So positioning yourself in the place that you have the most control over and how you are perceived to the people coming and researching you. We're going to talk about developing intellectual property around your offers, your products, your services, your systems. This one, game changer. I don't see, as I was doing some research for this episode, no one's talking about this. This is probably the most important element over everything else. But then number 3, going to be strategic and content partnerships. So actually leveraging other people's authority, other people's expertise, other people's communities to go and become involved in those and be framed, perceived as an industry leader and an expert. That's probably the quickest way to do it. It takes some time to get over the hump, but once you start doing that, the dominoes really start to fall for you. And then the 4th and final piece would be creating and consistently creating, more importantly, good content. And we're going to talk about what that looks like. And again, how to be smart, not work smart, not hard, and where to actually put the content so it gets seen and you're not just talking into a black hole. But before we get into these really important elements, I want to establish 2 foundational pieces that are going to be really critical on your journey in terms of developing that thought leadership, being an expert, having that authority. So the 2 foundational things, the first one is probably pretty obvious or maybe even too straightforward, but I'm going to say it anyways, and it's not something you probably want to hear, but you actually have to commit to being an expert. If you are going to want to be a thought leader, you can't just you can't fake that. And a lot of people in other industries, I'd say it is easier to fake that, especially online, but people are really savvy in the marketplace. They're smart, especially in small business entrepreneurship. People can have this subconscious radar for people who are faking it or frauds, and we want to help you overcome that. So you have to actually commit to being an expert, learning, and before you sell anyone, you must be able to sell yourself, right? We're going to talk more about how that confidence comes into play later with your offer, but this is so important that you need to commit to actually learning, improving your skills, knowing, hey, I can always get better, seeking out communities, mentors, people who can help you get better so you can actually be the expert that you deserve to be. Because this is earned. You don't just get this for just doing it. You have to do the right things in the right order, and we're going to talk about that more today. The
I love
second
that.
thing as a foundational item that's really important here if you want to be an expert is you have to decide what you actually want to be an expert in. You need to pick a niche, ideally even a sub niche of a bigger industry where you can plant your flag and really stake your claim. Now, once you do that and you become an authority in that space, it's a lot easier to, like Alex likes to call this, scaling horizontally, where you're going to different industries. But super important to pick one thing first. And the reason why you do this is you first of all need to understand the right channels. Where do these people actually live and spend time so you can become a part of that? You need to also be able to speak their language. Varying industries have totally different ways in which they call things. It could be their clients, could be patients, clients, customers, home buyers. Like, what is the thing they call their audience? You really have to be able to speak their language. I frame this as being an insider versus an outsider. We talked about that in past episodes, but being and people who are inside the industry can smell that fraud from a mile away. Who's an outsider and clearly not speaking the lingo, clearly not getting foundational things that people in the industry just get. And the idea is, if you want to have like a metaphor or a real world example of this, it would be, let's consider doctors and specialists specifically. So the general practitioners, I'm sure they get paid well, but they sort of do anything and see everyone and just kind of take what comes their way. The specialists can charge a premium, 5, 10, 20, 50x what a normal doctor would charge for their expertise in doing one thing and doing that really, really well. So I just want to leave you as we dive into this with those two foundational pieces. Got to actually be an expert and commit to that. And two, pick who you want to be an expert to so we can go down the right path and not just wander aimlessly through the forest. So before we really dive into the meat of what we're going to talk about in this episode, Alex, is there anything else you want to share or talk about when it comes to this setup of the foundational pieces?
Yeah, I think you really nailed it. I love the idea of before you sell anyone, you must sell yourself. Without confidence in who you are and what you bring to the table, no one's going to imbue that confidence to you. So if you're worried about like, am I coming off arrogant or am I coming off confident? You try to kind of realize that you don't have control of how people perceive you anyway. So just own your greatness. Express that you're the greatest at what you do. Certain people will be really attracted to that magnetically, and other people will be really opposed to it. And that's totally okay. You don't have to work with everyone. But to be an expert, you have to first express that you're an expert, but not faking it till you make it. I think I used to ascribe to that model, but I don't think it's really an appropriate methodology. I think that's how people screw other people over, and it's not really an effective model. Brian's method of trying to like seek out and find the things that make you better is really valuable and kind of like a microcosm of the industry in and of itself. Brian and I are always fielding questions from clients and or prospects and people in our groups. Like what niche should I do? I've been doing this niche for a while. Should I switch niches? And I think the best answer is don't switch niches, just be better. Right? That seems so simple and so silly, and yet it's so profound. If you put more time and effort into being the expert in the industry, you will come off as the expert in your industry. And I think that's absolutely critical. In terms of the doctor metaphor that Brian's talking about, general practitioner for pediatrician, as someone who just paid his pediatrician bill this morning for his brand new baby, definitely be a specialist. You get paid a lot more.
Yeah, I love that, man. And something else I want to say, the idea that expert positioning is relative and it's perceived to the person you're speaking with. It's different for everyone, right? So I want to instill the thought of the one step ahead thought process or mindset, if you will, where it basically says you only have to be one step ahead of the people that you want to serve in order to effectively serve them. I love that movie Catch Me If You Can, where Leonardo DiCaprio is just a step ahead by faking like each piece along the way. Now, I'm not telling you to do anything unethical here, but if you know just a little bit more than the people you want to serve, you're in a position to help them and get them to that next stage. And again, expertise is relative. So you don't have to be the very, very top. You just have to know a little more than the people you want to help with, and then position yourself in a way that speaks to that need to and is clear on your ability on how you help them. We're going to talk all about that right now.
Yeah,
So,
and
Alex,
if I
go
can
ahead.
clarify also, Brian is not recommending to do check fraud like Leonardo DiCaprio does in Catch Me If You Can, but it's a really good movie. So if you haven't seen it, strong recommendation, one of my all-time favorites. Brian, why don't we dive in here, starting off with profile funnels, one of the easiest, simplest methodologies to build out an effective positioning as an expert online.
100%. So I'll take a couple of these first ones and I'll kick it back over to you. Uh, Basically, Alex touched on this in the beginning. People will research you online. They want to know if they're going to make an investment in you. Who is this person? Can I trust them? Do they have experience? Do they even know what the hell they're doing? So you want to have your public facing profiles. Again, this is considering the sources or channels your clients spend the most time on and or where you're spending your time on to do prospecting. But more than likely, it's going to be the big three. It's going to be Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Again, one might take priority over another depending on where your audience is. But let's just start with a simple outline for what you could use across any platform as a profile funnel. We call it a profile funnel because it's designed with the intention to funnels people into a very specific place. So let's talk about what those options could be. For a lot of agency owners, it's going to be to book an actual call, learn how to get some sort of outcome. So without going too far down this rabbit hole of what the offer should be, I don't want you just to call it a strategy session. I want you to offer to show them how to accomplish a certain thing or get a certain outcome, make that the frame for your call and push them towards that. Alternatively, there could be a top of funnel lead magnet, something where you're going to give away in exchange for their contact information as value. Then you could follow back up with those leads. I strongly encourage that as well. And then for those of you that have a Facebook group, that's actually what our funnels point towards, which is our group, because we know when we pull people in there, not only do we get to qualify them with the questions they answer when they join, but now they're in our world, they see us more, they see our content, and we have on the back end our team reaching out to new members to schedule appointments with them. So our funnel is really set up with the intention to drive them to that group and show them our authority and at the same time book appointments with them. So a couple of considerations on where you could have this profile funnel point. That being said, let's get into some of the elements of this. Now, I apologize about the lighting. I have the real sun today, so I'm going to be glowing and it might go in and out a little bit. But the very first thing and most important thing to consider on any of your profiles is the headline. This is so critical because you need to, in less than a couple of seconds, establish who you serve and what that outcome is for them. And I don't want you to put your title, not CEO or founder of the name of your agency. The headline needs to be very specifically who you help and what the outcome is. Now, if possible, you can layer on, we'll talk about here in just a little bit, your unique methodology. So we help med spas fill their practice with high ticket skincare patients uh, using the glow method, right? So there was just a brain dump of a version you could have for that, but it's very specific about who it helps, what the outcome is, and then a unique angle or system there. Now, additionally, to kind of spice this up, two considerations. One, don't use a number. This is so played out. This is something we're coaching a lot to our clients right now. I don't want to see your profile say, we help real estate agents get 10 to 15 qualified appointments per month. That is so played out, and people use that so often. And frankly, having an exact number, to some people, that could be too much. To some, probably the ideal clients you really want to work with, that could be too little. So you can save your actual specific ascension promise or results guarantee in a sales demo, deeper down your funnel on an information page where it's like, hey, at a minimum, or packages start here, but I don't want that to be your headline because that sets the wrong tone and kind of just puts them into a box of, hey, this is the only thing we do. So don't have the number in there. That's the first consideration. The second consideration would be, if you don't want to have the unique system name in there, either one, have something kind of fun and different. One of my favorites is so they can sip on pina coladas. So we help gym owners attract more members so they can sip on pina coladas on the beach. That's kind of fun and different and sort of an icebreaker and shows personality. And or sort of a small flex of the results you produce. So on my profile, it says we help smart marketers reach 6 and 7 figures in their agency, more than 500 success stories and counting, right? So that really subtle flex of, hey, like this shit works. So your headline is absolutely critical. If you're in the POD program, we actually help you write these, give you feedback, optimize them, but start with the baseline of who you help, what the outcome is, and then try and add some personality or style to that based on those considerations I just shared with you.
I love that.
You
And
go
part
over,
of
go
my
ahead, Alex.
profile, for clarity, my profile is want to learn how to break through the ceiling of a 6-figure agency or coaching business by 7-figure coaches. Similar model, similar angle, with the call to action being the group, which we're going to talk about here in just a second about the calls to action.
Yeah, I love that. And again, it can be a question. You can change this up. This isn't a perfect formula, but you don't want your profile. If the simplest way I can express this is to not be about you. It needs to be about who you serve and how you serve them. Okay, at least in your headline as a minimum. And I'll go actually dig up mine just so I can read it exactly off for everyone here as well. So, helping marketers reach 6 and 7 figures with the ISA framework, 500 plus success stories and counting. So, again, who we help, how we help them, unique system name, testimonial, social proof flex, all in one pretty much. That's a small headline. It's only, it fits within the characters that Facebook allows. So, borrow some of these models, position yourself using that. Next thing, get a decent headshot. I don't want it to be like you drunk at a party or like you and like a bunch of people. I'm going to be particular about this one and say your headshot should be a picture of just you. That's probably being a little critical and not a deal breaker. The people want to know the actual face of the person they're connecting with and who you are. So it's like a group of 4 people, and they're like, "Who the hell is this?" I have to go go do research and dig. Don't do that. Just have your grill face right there, front and center. And the next thing that I'm going to talk about before I kick over this to Alex would be the actual two more things real quick, and then I'll kick this over to Alex. Alex, if you're looking at our shared doc, I highlighted what you're going to do.
I got you.
I want you to make sure you have the title of what you do and the actual business page linked there. So LinkedIn and Facebook have this done a little differently. In LinkedIn, it's your experience. What's actually kind of cool about the experience on LinkedIn, that would encourage you to add current clients and past clients you've worked with as well under the experience. You don't have to actually have been an employee of the brand to have it on your profile. I did this a lot when I worked in the patio furniture industry, had different big brands that I served on my profile, and I still do, to show people that industry, hey, I actually know what I'm doing and I work with big brands. But as a baseline on your Facebook profile, just have it linked to a business page just so they can go check that out as well. See, it's a legitimate business. I'm not going to talk too much about what you should be doing with a business page right now. I would say don't worry about it much other than post success stories and use it to run ads. Just that's it. Don't worry about putting content out there for now, okay? And then have an actual link to where you want to send them in the funnel. Now, you can add the link right on your profile. So this would be the couple of things we talked about before: booking page, top of funnel lead magnet, Facebook group. But it's difficult with having limited space in the headline to tell them what to do. There's 2 areas, specifically the featured photo and the header photo, where you can sort of use that as real estate for copy to point them to that link. So I'm going to kick it over to Alex, and he'll share a little bit more about how you can use these areas of your profile to actually send people down the funnel.
Yeah, absolutely. Very valuable insight from Brian there that I want to touch on as well. I think one other thing that I want to bring up as we're talking about the profile funnel is this idea of kind of market saturation. It's a very common concern that a lot of agency owners and business owners have. Like, how am I any different than anyone else? Like, how do I stand out? And that's the reason we're doing this actual training today for the Get More Clients show. I think that the key element to understand is these numbers. I'm going to pull these. I got these from Ryan Dice about a year ago, so they might be slightly different now, but I still think they're highly relevant. I want you to understand these numbers. There's about 500,000 digital ad agencies worldwide, more than 125 million small businesses worldwide. That means approximately 250 small businesses per agency. Just understand this, right? Most people that are watching this show are not going to have 250 clients. Most people watching this show probably won't have 10% of that, probably won't get to 25 clients. You might be in the like 15 to 20 range. If you're already above 25 clients, 25 to 100, you're already like in the 1% of agencies. The 200 plus client agencies, that's like the top tier, top 0.1%. So I wouldn't worry too much about, oh, my market's saturated, I can't be the expert because everyone else is the expert. Yeah, there can be a lot of experts in your space. There's a lot of experts in our space, frankly, but that doesn't mean that your words are not valuable, that your expertise is not valuable, that people don't want to buy from you. There's many fish in the sea. There's lots of things that you can do in your business to showcase your expertise and work with people that want to work with you, even if there's other people out there. And there's enough opportunity for you, okay? That's
I would say people different personalities resonate differently with different people, right? Like just because there's already experts out there doesn't mean your style, your voice isn't, like Alex said, important to someone else or more interesting over what someone else is doing. So I think a lot of what we're going to talk about here today, after we get past the profile funnel, will show you how to do that and be more interesting.
Definitely.
But let's keep talking about some of the elements they can to keep pushing them down the funnel.
Cool. So just recapping, headline to tease the offer, right? We're going to have a good headshot. We're going to have our title and our business name. And then what we want you to do is have a link to your profile. Now, what this means ultimately is not a website link, but a booking link. Okay, so top of the funnel lead magnet or a Facebook group. So if you were to go to one of my profiles on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, what we're going to do is bring you to our group, our Facebook group, the 7-Figure Culture Group, so that we can bring you to a place where you can consume a lot of our content, become interested in what we do, and then from there want to work with us by then booking a call. If you work in a different industry, you might want to go directly to booking a call or to a lead magnet that you have because it's really valuable and you know exactly what they're looking for. The next thing that you want to consider is the featured image, the header image that has an offer and call to action. Now, on any profile that you work with, except I think Instagram, there's going to be an image that can be your header, what they call the cover photo. If you use on the cover photo an opportunity to express what you do and how you do it, similar to the expression that Brian was talking about of the flex and like a little intro as to who you are, what you do, this is where you can use a call to action to provide value. But again, like Brian said, don't try to do the old method of, I can get you 10 more leads. Do you want that? No one wants leads. They want opportunities. They want growth. They want sales. They don't want leads. That's really key and very necessary. So I really think it's important that you put together a image that's really valuable to them in terms of the offer, something that's a no-brainer. If you have an ROI guarantee or you have a patient guarantee or job guarantee or something of that nature, that's exactly what you'd want to put up there. That would be your offer model. So that's really key. You also want to have a link in the photo description to the actual element that you're sending them to. So if you're saying we're going to give you our grow method, guaranteed 20 new patients every month, click here. If they click on the photo description, there'll be a link to either book a call with you or go to your group or whatever it might be. You can also implement this type of simple headline, something along the lines of like, want to see how chiropractors who work with us generate 10 new patients per month without the hassle of shared leads. Click here. Pretty simple offer headline. Basically, it's want to see how to get X without Y. Click here. Pretty easy to understand and implement. Again, add the link to your photo description. The last thing you can do is an alternative. You can use the featured photos to show client success stories. So there's a cover image, and then in Facebook, there's 9 available featured photos. Now, what you can do is either have flex posts where it's like testimonial videos or posts of victories. You'll see that on my profile if you go there. Or a single image that's like, want the same thing that I offered you in the cover photo. You don't want to send them to multiple different places on your profile. Otherwise, it doesn't become a funnel anymore. It becomes just a mess of different puzzle pieces. You want to funnel them to a specific spot, and identifying where you want them to be funneled to is really important. And there's no right or wrong answer. It might be the group, it might be a script, it might be a Facebook page, it might be a book call link. Whatever it is for you is really important and valuable. Just utilize all the elements you have. You're going to have your intro, the cover photo, and of course the featured image as well. Now on the featured image, you might want to consider all the places that you've been featured on too. So that can just be as seen on with the logos of entrepreneur.com or Inc. or whatever, etc. And if you don't have any features, it's totally fine. That doesn't mean that you're not an expert. It just means that you want to get to that position and point at some point. And we can do an entire show on PR at other times, but it's still really valuable. Now, the key of the profile funnel is how it actually works. You have to send traffic to your funnel. Now, there's a couple easy ways to do this. If you watched any of our previous shows, you know we talk a lot about prospecting in Facebook groups and sharing value and content. More people that see you in other groups will click on your profile and thus be brought to your, yes, you guessed it, profile funnel. Now, the profile funnel does the work for you. Also, the same idea would be if you're calling, warm calling, cold calling, emailing, Instagram DMing, Facebook DMing, and if anyone clicks on you or searches you and sees your profile, again, now they're in the profile funnel. Outbound lead gen and organic content in other groups is how you will get traffic to your profile. This is not something that you want to send ads to your standard profile. That wouldn't make any sense. This is an organic strategy, and it's really, really valuable. But let me ask you this, Brian, because a lot of people are very inclined to want to say this very next thing after talking about the profile. But Brian, but Alex, I don't have a website. So Brian, do you need a website to make this work?
No, you do not need a website to make any amount of money as a marketer. Do I think it's valuable, offers positioning and a place to host certain things you can use in your sales process? Absolutely. But in the initial stages, a website can be translated to a social profile like we are talking about. I feel that it's a little scary because so many people, and this is again around the theme of working smart, not hard. So many people think they need to have a website, and they put so much time into what it looks like and what it says and what it does. And if you would have just spent that time going and having conversations with your ideal clients and audience, you would have signed clients already. Don't worry about a website right now. I would say build it out over time. Iterate very simply. You can have one page that hosts your unique offer, a demo video of that, and maybe some social proof. And then down the road, you can add on additional things to that. But it is not a requirement at all. And I would say don't go build a website until you have actually established some credibility, authority in a niche, whatever, because you'll end up spending a lot of time just tweaking it, trying to change it to this person or that person. Figure out where you're going to plant your flag first, plant it, own it. Then you can create a site around that. I also think a site can become like a black hole of not only time, but content creation. And we're going to talk more about this in tip number 4 on this episode. But I would say no. The simple answer is no, you don't. Not yet. Don't worry about that shit. Go get some conversation started with your ideal clients. So in the theme of continuing to stand out as an expert, as an authority, one of the most important elements that no one talks is having your own actual intellectual property for the process that you do. Now, you might do something very similar to a lot of other marketers. Maybe it's Facebook ads and lead nurturing, and you help your clients get leads, right? But how do you frame that in a way that's different and sexy? I'm going to set the stage a little bit, and I'm going to hand it over to Alex to talk more about this. But one of my favorite examples of this is Beachbody. It's funny enough, we're up here at our place in northern Michigan right now, and my wife's doing some at-home DVD workouts because we're not near our gym, so she's doing some of those, but looking back at how they're branding these and naming them, right? So if any of you have been in the fitness industry at all, you probably heard of P90X, really famous, popular workout DVD set. Now, why did they call it P90X? Well, the name's good, sure, but it's because instead of calling it another workout or another diet or just calling it a workout or just a diet, you have to give it a unique name because people love new opportunities. You'll likely get the objection a lot in marketing. Oh, I've tried this before. That's what people are thinking about almost everything they do. And people's brains are very hard to believe that if they've already failed at something, it's a lizard brain trying to protect us from making the same mistake and feeling that pain or frustration again. So we like to default to, oh, that doesn't work. I've tried it before. I've tried dieting before. I've tried the gym before. I've tried Facebook ads before. I've tried lead gen before. So you need to create a new opportunity. easiest way to do that is to give a name to a unique methodology or system. Again, even if it's similar to what a lot of people are doing, you give it its own name and its own frames. So before I go into that too deep, I'm going to kick it over back to Alex. I'd love his take on this and some of the elements that we have written down in our outline today.
I love it. Yeah, I think the first time I ever realized this was inherently when I was selling to attorneys, and I would say that I was doing Google advertising for them. They'd be like, "Oh, we tried that already. It doesn't work," right? And I think I was stunned the first couple times I heard that because it's like, what? What do you mean it didn't work? And my objection handling would be like, well, imagine if you had, a really bad cut on your hand and then you tried to sew it up, but it kept bleeding. Would you just be like, well, I tried, it didn't work, so I'm just going to keep bleeding? And, the attorneys would kind of look at me all cockeyed and like, what the fuck are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. This is not the same thing. I'm like, well, it is metaphorically. Your business is bleeding, and we got to sew it back up with Google Ads, right? And I was trying to use that kind of like unique framework and conversation tactic to get my point across, but it wasn't really hitting home. I would say maybe 30% of the audience that I was speaking to was like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. So I would try to start like naming my packages something a little unique. But Brian really was the one who took it one step further. When we started working together, prior to that, he was selling a LinkedIn service, but everyone and their mother sells a LinkedIn service. So Brian changed the name of his LinkedIn service to the Open Method. Now, the Open Method was a 4-step process to generating 20 new appointments every month, guaranteed, using our proprietary LinkedIn process. Now, the 4-step Open Method is basically the recipe to achieving the result, which is that 20 new guaranteed appointments. It's similar, and everyone that's listening that are clients of ours are going to laugh at this. It's similar like when you go to Cheesecake Factory, when you order the Oreo cake cheesecake, right? You're not asking how they made it. If you asked, by the way, you probably wouldn't order it because it's so damn bad for you. But look, I'm not anyone to say anything bad about cheesecake. I love it. But here's the reality. A lot of people still want to know what the recipe is, and the same holds true in the business sense. They all want the result, either the cheesecake or the 20 guaranteed appointments, but how you package that result, how you provide that secret sauce, that secret recipe is key. Think about McDonald's, right? The Whopper, or that was so silly. That's the Burger King one. Anyways, the Big Mac, right? They have that Big Mac sauce, and that was their secret sauce for so long. Do you know what Big Mac sauce is? It's mayo and ketchup mixed together. But they're not going to be like Big Mac sauce is mayo and ketchup together. It's just Big Mac sauce, right? And people want that Big Mac sauce. That's the unique specialty of it. Same idea as that Rick and Morty sauce that came out like a year ago. People were so freaking hyped up for like a sauce that was basically just like Asian Polynesian sauce. But people want something that's unique, this FOMO element to how you package your offer. So when Brian's going to someone and saying, we're providing you a 4-step method called the Open Technique that's going to generate you 20 guaranteed appointments every single month, that changes the landscape of saying we offer LinkedIn prospecting services. The way that you package your service, the way that you share your secret IP and recipe is so critical to your success here, and it really makes a big difference long term. Now, the way that you sell it is really key. When you're showing, if you have a graphic, which you should have a graphic that explains your 3 to 5 step process, the promise, the result that you're giving them, and then say something like this. Look, Brian, I just want you to be aware, I will show you the recipe, the open system in general, the 4 steps that we implement to achieving 20 guaranteed results every month. But just for clarity, the burden's on us to do that for you. We're the chefs in the kitchen. We handle it all for you, but we're going to get you the 20 guaranteed new opportunities every month. That's what you want, right? Very simple. If you do not have a clear outcome for your offer, if you do not know where you're taking them, what that transformation statement is, what the ascension promise is, what the result is, whatever word you want to use, whatever synonym you want to implement, you will not be able to successfully sell your IP, your offer. Now, the key is, how do you name the offer? The easiest way to do it is to think about 4 or 5 letter words that work in that industry, right? So like glow for med spas is a very common one, or home for real estate agents, or case for attorneys. These are simple words that have an immediate understanding to the avatar that you're speaking to, so that you can build an acronym around it. So that case can be creating opportunities, acquiring new contacts, synchronizing contacts on GHL, and executing the model and optimization. That was just off the dome, like in 10 seconds. If you just sit there for a little bit and try to identify some of the glossary of terms that people are utilizing in your industry, and then you use that 4-letter word as the recipe to what you're offering, it starts to put together a very unique IP. It can be an acronym. It doesn't have to be. A lot of people we work with don't use an acronym. We prefer the acronym model, I think just because we're biased, because that was Brian's original idea, the open method. But a lot of people we've seen don't use an acronym, and it's wonderful and it works very well, and that's totally fine. Okay, so imagine when you're building this process, like what's the map of the road trip you're taking? Like where are you taking them from step 1 to step 4, and then explaining to them like this is the pit stop, this is the milestone, this is where we're taking you on your journey to achieve the result. That's the key, right? And again, constantly reflecting like, we'll take care of this, we do this for you, you shouldn't do this yourself, it's why you're hiring us, etc. And what you really want to do is just avoid these industry buzzwords. You don't want to worry about like specific little things that they think will be like exciting for them. Just focus on the benefits of the steps, not necessarily features. Focus on what they're going to get, the result and the value of each of them, namely the time saving and the money creating, revenue creating opportunities. Now, to further differentiate yourself, again, naming your unique steps, your strategies within the systems, like a sneaky sniper strategy or whatever that might be, instead of Facebook ads. Because again, Facebook ads is what they already tried that didn't work before. So how you're packaging it in a unique way will make it easier to sell, make it more interesting, and make it more unique for people to want it. Very, very, very clear opportunity and very great, a great opportunity for scale. 2 other things here in our business on how we use it would be the prospecting in a box. That's our outbound prospecting machine. It doesn't sound as sexy when we say, do you want our outbound prospecting machine? When we say, do you want our prospecting in a box? Same as the one called close framework. It's not our sales framework, it's the one called close framework, or the infinitely scalable agency framework. It's not our 7-figure scaling framework, it's our infinitely scalable agency framework. These are just simple strategies to get people enlightened and interested in your unique IP. Now, optional here, but the name of the product or the service doesn't have to be the system, right? That's not the idea. So the name of our product is Elite. The name of the service is the infinitely scalable agency, how we build it, right? So you can change up the products and the systems. The secret sauce doesn't have to be the name of the offer. If you want to, you absolutely can. To close this out here and make sure that there's kind of like a nice tight bow on this, how do you actually deliver this in your sales process? How do you actually provide this to your prospects? The easiest thing to do is have a simple demo graphic or demo page that has a video. The demo graphic, again, you're going to have a 3 to 4 step process, explain each step, have in the middle the name of the process or that secret strategy you have with the result in the top left, like very clearly stated. And then what you want to do is just shoot a quick 3-minute video like, hey, what's going on? Alex here, going to share with you the CASE method. This is our 4-step process to generating 10 new personal injury clients every single month for your firm, guaranteed. Now, I'll share with you in this video our actual recipe, our formula, our logical process to how we achieve these goals for you, but just know it's on us to do it for you. You don't have to have that burden. I just want you to know we do have a framework instead of a hope and pray strategy to achieve these results. Now, you can use that video, that style, in your sales calls itself, or before the sales call, you can send it as an opportunity. If you want to get real fancy with it, you can even put it into a page, have some testimonials, have the video, have proof. All that stuff is great, and that's how you build out an intellectual property framework that will position yourself as an expert in your industry.
Damn, killed it. I would say the only thing I would add is being okay with imperfection at first. We threw a lot at you right there on how to actually make the offer and like having unique names for different parts of it. Just start with one thing, define the outcome, give it a name, create a process around that, and you can make it better over time. Iterate, okay? We want done, not perfect here. That's what we're looking for. So let's move on to the 3rd piece of our episode today. We have 2 more topics to cover. This one is, one of my personal favorites, so I'm going to get into this one and take it away. That would be creating strategic partnerships and content partnerships. Now, you can blur the lines between these two. Essentially, what I'm looking for are people and or communities, groups, associations, whatever, that already have my ideal clients. And I can metaphorically go fishing in those ponds, right? Got to identify those ponds where your clients are already hanging out, and then go fish in those ponds, become a part of them, because the credibility of the people in that industry will, or in that group, will transfer to you, and outsiders will see that. But also people inside of the community treat you with a lot more respect, and much different than someone who's outside of that community. Again, insider versus an outsider. So let's talk about some ways that you can strategically create and forge these relationships. Don't just wait for these relationships to happen. You have to go find them and make them. And we'll talk about some strategies here today. Shout out to Victoria Kennedy, who was with us at our virtual retreat for our team. We had 2 full days of online events for our clients. Victoria Kennedy was one of our amazing guest speakers who talked about the idea of public relations, so PR, and a lot of these pieces that have to do with that. So let me also just say, as we're getting into this idea, that these bigger publications that a lot of entrepreneurs follow, Forbes, Entrepreneur Magazine, Inc. Magazine, uh, to be frank, the industries that you're in probably don't care that much about that. And that's sort of just a flex personal ego thing. I care more about you being an expert in that very small pond, right? I want you to go be published and have your expertise shared in the magazines, podcasts, groups, associations that your clients, your ideal niche actually gives a shit about. That's why at the very beginning we said you have to pick audience, because you want to define what those correct channels are. So the idea here behind the strategic content partnership, again, surrounding yourself with other experts in the space, figuring out what those publications are actually going, spending time to create a list. What is the publication? Where is it? What is the link? Is it a podcast? Is it a Facebook group? Is it an event? What are those things? Actually write that down and batch that. And when I say batch that, what that means is don't just do this ongoing. Create a big time block in your calendar, 1 to 2 hours, maybe once a month, or you could even do it in a sitting sometimes, and just get a big list of at least 100. We call this the Dream 100. It doesn't have to be 100 right away, but try and get it close to that. Aim for 100, see where you land. Typically, the easiest places to identify these are: one, Google search. Just go search different versions of realtor or podcasts for realtors, groups for realtors, associations for realtors, and also asking your ideal clients. If you have anyone in the industry that you are already working with, they're a perfect source of, hey, so what publications do you read? What groups are you a part of? Now, I want to also quickly talk about this idea of smaller pools versus bigger pools. So if you're in an industry where, for example, real estate or gyms, where there's just a lot of them and it's difficult to get into the bigger nationwide groups or associations, I want to challenge you to focus more on local groups and associations in your community, whether that's city or state. But I know I was just doing some research with someone in the loan officer space. Just in Tampa alone, there was like 4 or 5 different loan officer associations and groups. You just have to go be willing to search for them and find them. So when they're a bigger pool, focus more on your local area, city or state. And when it's a smaller pool, you might need to go focus on the more national, even possibly international publications for that. For example, when I was in the patio furniture industry, the biggest publication and group was the ICFA, International Casual Furniture Association. Casual furniture was what they called outdoor furniture, essentially. So the ICFA, but the industry was very, very small. And funny enough, 2 of my top clients were already on the board of this industry. So I had a pretty easy in and was able to get published in their magazine. But you got to first identify, is it a smaller industry or a bigger industry? And where can I start to carve out a little bit of leadership for myself? So let's talk about how to actually benefit from these communities. So the very first thing you can do is actually participate in the community. This is easy when it is something like a Facebook group, or maybe something like an open forum where people are having back and forward conversations. Could be a private messenger group, could be a Slack group, depends on what the industry has, but actually participate, provide value, insight, share things that are working for you, share stories, lessons you've learned. Try to avoid self-promotion. We're going to talk in the next step here about actual content creation, but participate in the community. Ask, answer questions, just be involved. Don't have, does not have to be anything crazy. Schedule out an hour a week and just actually participate in the community. Second place to, and that in doing that, people will start to find you, go back to your profile funnels, and then end up wanting to reach out to you. Now, that's probably only going to be a small percentage of people. So let's talk about how you can now proactively actually participate in these communities. And get leads from them. One, the outbound prospecting. We talk about this a lot in our community, the idea of finding relevant Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, going back and adding those people as friends and connections, pulling them into your world so you can go back and forth and open a dialogue on Messenger. It's a fantastic way to take advantage. But the real power here, and what I want to get to the meat of this tip, is how you can actually get your face in front of this community in a way where the leadership of that group or community is saying, hey, you should listen to Brian. Hey, you should listen to Alex, whoever that is. And we do that by what I call a content partnership. Now, there's two approaches here you can utilize. The first is where you are actually just going to go for the straight up ask and tell them, like, hey, I see your content or your community gets a lot of value out of blank topic. I love what you've been doing in this community. It's great what you've built. If you're open to it, I'd love to be able to produce something for them as well. So you're basically asking if you can make their life easier by creating a valuable piece of content for their community. And there's no rule here of what type of content it could or should be. Personally, I typically like to do a video with a clear call to action at the end. Video is a lot easier to get ideas through quicker, and it builds rapport. They see your face, your voice, your tonality, your personality, all those things. And then a call to action to, hey, if you want to learn more, I set aside time on my calendar to speak about that with people this week, and you can have them book right there. But the idea would be to go directly to these groups and associations and offer to provide value in the form of creating content. Now, I do have another example here. I'm just going to read off, if that's okay. You can use this as a script. This would be an example for um, someone in the loan officer space. So, hey, Bob, I saw you're on the leadership team at the Premier Mortgage Association Group. I actually work with a number of loan officers to help them secure exclusive, not shared buyer applications. If you're open to it, I see your community gets a lot of value from learning how to generate their own leads. And I'd love to show them how to tee themselves up for success in 2021 with some free content. Let me know if you feel like this is something that would benefit your community. So that's a really good ask. It's not being pushy. It's asking to provide value. That's a really great frame you can use. Now, you're probably thinking, I know what you're thinking, crap, Brian, why would someone want to publish me, or why did someone care about what I have to say? So we have this extra layer you can add on if you are not feeling like you're positioned well enough in a marketplace to warrant or deserve them just to publish your stuff. I call this the interview offer. I want you to go identify these people, and before you make the ask to go participate in their group or provide value to them, I want you interview them. You can basically say, and I have again a script here, I'll just read off and provide you. Hey, Bob, we're actually currently putting together an interview series to promote some of the top thought leaders and experts in the loan officer space. I saw you're a part of the Premier Mortgage Leader Association team. I'd love to be able to promote you and your group on this interview series. Let me know if you're interested in being featured. Either way, have a great day. So now you are going to bring Bob could be anyone, a dream client, dream referral source, etc., into an interview series and build rapport and a relationship on that call. Then at the end, when the recording is done, transition to now you having access to their community. So here's what that frame would look like. Hey, Bob, really appreciate your time today. As a thank you for you participating here and giving me your time, I'd love to give back to your community if you're open to it. I saw you like to publish content on blah, blah, blah. Same exact frame now I just talked about before this, where now you're making an ask for something you could produce for them. So this idea of strategic and content partnerships can be a little bit outside of your control because you're having to sort of wait on other people's approval, get them through. You could picture this like a sales process, honestly, where you have a sales cycle where some people are thinking about it, some people said yes, but not ready yet, some people want to do it, but they haven't started yet. That's going to be the same thing here. I don't want you to only rely on this as a prospecting channel. We're talking about establishing authority and leadership. That takes time. You now getting featured in these communities to your ideal clients significantly increases your authority and expert positioning over other people in that space. And again, these people are a part of these groups and associations to know who to trust, to be referred, to go know who to talk to get the help they need. And when you are a part of that, they will think about you over anyone else who just comes to them randomly online. So really consider this as a part of your prospecting strategy and thought leadership execution. And just to kind of put it into practical terms before we kick over to this next piece, or a practical application, this is how we get most of our clients in this community. We find other amazing software tools in the industry who have good groups like Go High Level and or relevant people who have the audience we want and who teach a similar thing. And we go do interviews and we exchange that in their groups so people see us, like what we're talking about, and then come join our community. And it's funny, when I brought this up to our private clients in a conversation the other day, two people were like, yeah, I joined this program because I saw you guys in a video in that group, like right on that call live. So I wasn't even planning that, but it works, guys. And that authority is powerful because that authority from the people that they follow and trust is transferred to you. So go back if you need to rewatch this part. I know I just threw a lot at you, but it's very important and something we can maybe get into a little bit deeper and just talk about that topic on a further episode or a future episode. But I'm going to kick it back over to Alex now. Another thing that is probably deserving of its own episode in its entirety, but still critical today for today's topic around thought leadership and creating that. So, Alex, let's talk about the last item today, which is actually creating content and publishing it where it'll actually get seen. And I want to actually tee this up for you because this is where I said back at the beginning, where a website can become a black hole, where I do not want you just to publish content if you're creating it on a site or on YouTube with no followers or a place where you where it's not going to be seen. That is pointless, right? Because if people have to go discover it and you're not ranking high already, or have people following you, it's going to be very difficult for them to find that. So let's talk about how and where to actually put that content and what to create. Alex, kicking it over to you.
Love it, man. That was all fire. Everything you're saying there is super great. And I just want to also note, like, we've created so much revenue from doing the tactics that Brian was just talking about in other groups, and doing it ethically and morally and with good, with the right ideas behind it, at the right intentions, and people really gravitate to you so well. There's a lot of time to put in, unquestionably, in order to do it. And we're not suggesting it's the only or even best way to generate business, but it's a great way to do it. And it's really valuable and something that you should definitely consider doing. Even if you have to listen to what Brian said 3 more times over, it's fine. I listen to a lot of my podcasts at 1.5 times speed. Don't think you can do that with the Get More Clients show. So I'm sorry. But let's close out today here with how we create content and publishing it where it will actually be seen. So the first thing I want to talk about is this show itself. Why did we commit to making this show? There's 2 main reasons. Number 1, consistency is the first key to anything that's successful in creating content. If you do not have consistency, people will not know when, where, and how to find you. And I know I'm speaking in kind of a hypocritical manner because a lot of the episodes that we filmed for Get More Clients have been on different days, but it just ended up being that way either because I had a baby or Brian was on his honeymoon. But in a normal circumstance, we would be doing this show every single week at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, always. Now, having flexibility is really important, but being disciplined and staying consistent to the best of your ability is really, really key. Not punishing yourself, so meaning Brian and I didn't fail because we're filming this on a Friday. It's just more so understanding, hey, if not as many people are capable of listening to this live or on recording, it might be because they expected it at a certain time or place that it wasn't there, and you have to be okay with that. So consistency, I would say, is the absolute first key to success in creating content. The second reason that we created this show, besides to build consistency in that habit, right, is because we wanted something that would allow us to kind of sit on a soapbox together, talk it out, flesh it out, communicate, and share some of our most valuable assets, not just through written words or quick videos, but a structured show that can be consistent and ongoing forever that we'll do with 2 things specifically. Number 1, we'll record the whole show, put it on YouTube and on podcast platforms, etc. And that will, by the way, live in perpetuity, right? And number 2, also take clips from the show and post those on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever you can find us, you can find these clips. And that's really valuable and something you really want to consider because that's how you'll ultimately be able to build a consistent framework by sharing your content everywhere. Now, how do you share that content can be really challenging. We'd advise hiring a VA to support you on this. If you can't do that yet, putting time in the calendar every day to set up and schedule them is really key. If you don't do that, you will miss out your opportunity on actually posting content. So really important. In terms of like where you want to share, you want to start with what's going to be the most valuable place for you, meaning the highest 80-20 principle, like what 20% of work is going to get you 80% of the results. If you have this incredible group that's going to generate you the most opportunity, start there. If you have a lot of people that are friends on your profiles, go there next. After that, you want to syndicate on your blog, on YouTube, wherever you want to build an audience over time is where you want to be posting your content. And think of this as a long play. It doesn't mean that if you post every piece of content, you're going to get a lot of opportunity. And I think this is a perfect way to kind of bring this full circle from the first thing we spoke about at the beginning of this show. Obviously, I had a baby this week. Babies are social media magnets, right? So I posted, I think on Monday, I believe, a picture of Shira and I, and we're like, we're going to be parents this week because Shira was going to be induced on Tuesday. Then we had the baby Tuesday night, and I posted, I think on Wednesday morning, welcome to the world, baby Shlinsky. And I think that was maybe the most commented post I've ever had. I'm pretty sure there was like 500 comments and like, I don't even know how many likes, like 600 likes or some crazy amount. And then the very next day, we posted a clip from this show, and it had 3 likes. Right? And you can look at that and be like, oh my God, no one cares about me. They only want my baby pictures. It actually does the opposite for me, right? People don't have to press a button to say that they watch something. They can watch something in full and not engage in any way. That doesn't even mean they don't like it. It just means they weren't spurred to do that, which is completely fine. The invisible impact of your content really matters. There's lots of people that reach out to me, whether it's from my Facebook stories or Instagram or on Facebook post itself. They didn't even engage in the post. They didn't even message in the post. They just messaged me, hey, I saw this thing on YouTube. Hey, I saw this thing on the high level group. Hey, I saw that post you made. It's like, you didn't even comment on it, right? And I used to get butthurt about this, frankly, because I was like, bro, help a brother out, man. I mean, come on. But the reality is, it's still doing the end result. And if you're worried about the algorithm, again, like the algorithm proves it in and of itself. If I can post something where it's a picture of me and my baby and you get, 1,000 engagements on it, and you post something the very next day that's business oriented and you get literally 4 engagements on it, you probably shouldn't worry too much about what your engagements are looking like. It's more so what the actual content is doing for you at the end of the day. And I think that's really key. Otherwise, you're going to feel crappy about it. Because look, making a content like this is challenging. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. It doesn't take a lot of time or effort to post a picture of a baby. And yet that's the thing that gets all the content. So maybe moving forward, I'll just do baby pictures and it will be just a secret. Like we'll run an ad with a picture of my baby and we'll start off like, welcome to the world. Okay, I tricked you. Now you're reading the post. Here's value on how to do the one call close. Maybe we'll run an ad like that coming to a Facebook post near you. Maybe we'll do it. You'll see. But I think this is really important. Let's talk a little bit about posting guidelines, what to post. This is just an idea. We're not saying this is fact by any means. A lot of this is gray, right? But it is something to consider what you want to potentially be posting. Our ideal model is going to be 50-50 personal and professional. So if you can do something that's personal and professional in the same post, that would be really valuable. So maybe I'm joking, but maybe we will really try that picture. Maybe I really will do a picture with my baby and talk about why, productivity is so important, and then bang, it creates opportunities. Same idea when I posted about my heart surgery. That was before the baby, the most engaged post I ever had, because people actually give a shit if you have a potential of dying potentially, or you brought in the world, new life. People really care about that. It doesn't mean that they don't care about how you can help them in your expertise. It just means it's not something that's going to spur them to take the action. So if you can do 50% personal, 50% professional, that would be great. And as someone who's balding and losing their hair, try not to worry too much about how you look on the profile pictures or on the pictures itself. Just post it, just engage with it. It's all good. No one's going to be an asshole to you. You're going to be harder on yourself than anyone else would, except for your good friends like Brian, who will be like, yo bro, your hair's gone. Your baby has more hair than you. I've only heard that joke 30 times this week already. Yay! Thanks, friends. I love you all. Okay, let's continue. Can you see that I'm insecure about my hair loss? Yes, sir. All right, let's continue here. The next thing you want to consider posting, social proof. Client stories, lessons from the front line, sharing your journey, not just highlights, but lowlights also. When you share the lowlights, it creates transparency and openness to realize I can't always win. There's this weird social media phenomenon that people that post, especially like very large influencers, not even people in the entrepreneur space, just like we're talking about like the biggest influencers in the world, like the LeBron Jameses, the Kardashians, like the Gary Vaynerchuk's, Tony Robbins. A lot of these people only post highlights, right? And that makes you believe that there's nothing in their life that's going on that's ever negative. Everything's great, perfect all the time. And that's just not how life is. If you post the lowlights also, it really opens you up to an entirely different audience of people that realize, wow, like I want to work with someone that is that authentic and open and willing to share, even when it's hard. Obviously, you make your own boundaries. There are certain things people will post that other people kind of like, ooh, and other people think, wow, that's really valuable, and that's okay. You decide. No one else can decide for you. And also, who gives a shit if someone doesn't like that content? Move on. It doesn't matter. Their opinion is worthless. It's all good. Now, with saying this, you have to provide real value, not just service level garbage that points them to another, link. You have to be okay with sharing your best content, even because you realize this. People are not buying information. They're buying time-saving solutions, right? People don't go to a personal trainer because they can't find an awesome diet online. They're going to a personal trainer to save them time, to get accountability, to get specific and unique mentorship, and that's what we're offering. If you listen to every element of the Get More Clients show, every episode, and detail it out, write notes on each one, right? You're getting the best value we can share with you. But having us audit your sales calls, getting on a one-on-one call with you, being in our Slack channel, being held accountable, having unique questions answered that you're asking, that's what people invest in. Not just the content. You can find any information online for free. It's this incredible Google tool called Google. Have you heard of it? I'm sure you have. There's an amazing tool, by the way, called Let Me Google That For You. Check it out if you haven't heard of it. It's absolutely hilarious and really valuable. But yeah, I mean, we live in the information age. People are not buying information. Some people do buy information to dilute crap, but buying the information, how do you know that you're diluting the crap? That comes all the way back to full circle of making sure you're the expert in the space. Do you see why we did this? You see how we're good at our job and like putting together a show that makes sense all together? That's what we do. That's the goal. That's the purpose of this show. That's the idea of why we built this. So again, real value, not service level garbage. Don't be afraid to give away really valuable content because only a small percentage will implement, and the ones that do, they're going to come back for the full meal. You just gave them an appetizer. They want more from you. Also, give them quick wins. Show them how you can help them get small results to help with the bigger stuff long term. Again, they're going to come back to you and go from there. Consider also like posting guidelines and certain prompts. I'll just read off just a bunch of them real quick that you can think about. In the last few weeks, what's been your biggest win? Your biggest lesson? Your biggest failure? What's the thing that you had to learn the hard way? What's a new lesson that you implemented? What did you change in your routine? What have you been really excited about? What have you journaled about? What have you had new goals that you set? What have you asked your clients or sold to your clients over and over again recently? What aspect of your work has been most fun and most frustrating? These are just ideas that you can start using to spur yourself to create valuable and impactful content. It really makes a huge difference long term. So that's where to share. That's how to build content. That's how to create effective models. So what's the actual next step? What do you have to do? You just have to get past the idea of no one's seeing my stuff. No one likes my content. Overcoming the fear of imposter syndrome that I'm not worthy or I'm not having enough engagement or people don't give a crap about what I do. Like I said, the invisible impact mattered. Other people will find your content later on and then consume everything and become a fan. There is an in perpetuity model and also an actual model where your content goes away right away. This is what I mean by this. Your Facebook posts or Instagram posts really live on this like 24-hour timeline, okay? People see it and then Facebook pushes it off their timeline for all the new incoming posts. I read one time, I think that like 20,000 hours or something is posted on YouTube every second. So how can YouTube itself do security reviews? And that's what the post was talking about. But my thought process was like, how's it possible for everyone to audit and review all that? It's not. So on your YouTube profile, right, you'll be positioned and shown certain new videos, but in perpetuity, people can go back and look at all the stuff you've done before. So yeah, do we have people looking at our content from 2017 right now in 2021? Probably not. Does that mean it wasn't valuable then or it's not valuable now? No, it just showcases that you can go back as long as you want and find it. And I'll give you a good little tip here. The personal profile that I have, facebook.com/Schlinsky, SCHLINSKY, that's my last name. The last the first post I ever did was when I was in high school. All my dumb high school shit is still on the same Facebook that I have as my business. So if you want to go all the way back to 2006 and see what, 15, 16-year-old dumbass Alex was doing, you can do that if you want. But that's not going to help you. But it's just, again, a point to realize, like, your content does have a certain lifespan, but it also lives in perpetuity at the same time. And even though those seem contradictory of each other, it's still valuable. So don't worry about imposter syndrome. Don't worry about will people see it. People will get there. People will see it. As long as you continue bringing them to your profile, as long as you continue creating more opportunities for yourself and creating more content and staying consistent. And remember, sell yourself first. If you don't sell yourself first, you're not going to be able to sell anyone. That was today's show. What a jam-packed episode. I think it was our longest episode, which is pretty crazy. That's what happens when I get on a soapbox talking about baby stuff. Maybe we'll do an episode just on baby stuff. We won't. We won't do that. I'm kidding. Brian, before we go, anything else, my brother?
No, that was excellent. I love all the details we provided in here. Go back and rewatch this, and you can watch this at a little bit quicker speed on YouTube if you want to go through it and like rewatch something at a little bit, 1.5, 2x speed. You can do that. But I appreciate your time as always. If you're here with us, spending the whole episode or even just the clips, either way, we appreciate you. If you enjoyed this, you know what to do. Subscribe on the channel you're watching this on so you can get future clips, help us reach more people, impact more lives, and keep growing these agencies and coaching businesses, because I know
Yes,
there
sir.
is more needed than ever now with everything going on in the world. We need smart people like yourselves. So remember, it's your obligation to serve your audience and to be the expert. It's your obligation. Got to do it. Got to own that shit. And otherwise, we will see you in episode number 8.
See you guys.
Peace.